the judges in Auckland got so sick of him because he was always taking people to court, always trying to sue people, and he sent, one of the things he sent to the courts, to the judges, he demanded they pay $650,000 for him to appear in court.
What? Has anyone ever done that before? There's maybe.
I don't know.
Not successfully, no.
I mean, I take it they didn't pay him.
Oh, absolutely not. No. And there'd be like the judges, you know, from what we understand is they'll be like, you know, I'm not having him, you have him, you know.
Yeah.
And he ran out of lawyers who would deal with his stupid stuff in Auckland. He had to end up going to Hamilton to get a lawyer to represent him. And Auckland's the biggest city, it's got 1 million people, but they wouldn't represent him anymore.
Wow. So the last time that he left New Zealand, didn't he still owe a lot of money?
Yeah, he was made bankrupt. He had he'd defamed some guy who was quite well known in New Zealand and in the UK. And this guy took offence to it in the end, and he sent him, he took him to court, and he won $130,000. And I think that's when Greg left the country.
Yeah.
And then that guy then applied for Greg to be bankrupt.
I've seen the the official saying that he's bankrupt, right?
Yeah.
I can put that on here.
Yeah.
So you also, with the bankruptcy, you have to, when the period is up, you have to apply to have your bankruptcy released. So him being out of the country, I don't know whether he's done that or not, so he may or may not still be bankrupt in New Zealand, but it won't affect him overseas at all.
He says he could never come back, and we thought it was, you know, he was saying, oh, it was because I'm getting all these death threats, you know, like anthrax on a steering wheel, which turned out to be...
He'd eaten a pie.
It was pastry dust on the steering wheel. It got a bit mouldy while he was away.
But he'd been to one of the Pacific Islands, and he was giving a talk there about our then Prime Minister, Helen Clark, and he was dissing her. So he reckoned that's why they did this attempt on his life. And he got into his car when he got back to New Zealand, into the car, and the steering wheel was sticky. When he was further down the road, he started to feel ill. And at the point where he started to feel ill was at the point where he said another couple were murdered, had a fatal car crash, when they'd obviously been whistleblowers for something, according to Greg. So he reckoned that because it was the same place, this was an attempt on his life, but he did admit he had eaten a pie before he went to the airport. So, you know, you've got, imagine a meat pie that's been sitting in your steering wheel in the sun for a week, you know, just the juices of it.
Yeah, it'd be grim.
And that's possibly what made him feel sick, but he reckoned then that was the 7th attempt on his life, and I'm not quite sure.
Oh, I think Prince Philip looked at him once on a step. That was another attempt on his life.
Yeah, I mean, these attempts coming thick and fast. I swear I heard someone say that he'd claimed there were 18 attempts on his life now.
Oh, yeah, well, that's because, you know, it's all symbolism. Somebody might have written something down in a film. That's an attempt.
Well, maybe throwing pictures at him. That was probably one of them.
Oh, that was probably the first one.
So that'd be one. So pie would have been the second attempt, pie trying to kill him, someone looking at him, third attempt. I mean, that's how they're all racking up.
Getting a flat tire in the dark.
Yeah.
That would be another attempt. And then
so he's not getting, drive-by shoutings and things like that happening to him all the time.
No, nothing that
extreme. Pie, pie coming for him.
Old pie. An old pie crust. It's the old pie crust story.
So, if you guys could say anything to, get a message across to Greg's avid followers or fanatics, what would you say to them?
Please look at both sides of the story. Don't just read what Greg says and take on board the other side of the story, because you can't just get one person of, the other sides of the story, really. You've got to be able to listen to some of the comments that are negative of Greg, and then they can sift the shit themselves. So they can work out what they think is true and what they think isn't true, but they can at least sift the shit rather than just being given the good stuff that says Greg's king and the ruler of the world.
Yeah. And when they look at his documents online, that's what they're doing. They're looking at documents online. That is not proof that they're original documents. And if they were, that thumbprint of Queen Victoria's, man, she's got a thumbprint the size of a baby's hand. That blood of so-called blood, it's massive.
Massive, yeah.
And anybody can write anything. Anybody can write anything. They can't see what it says. They wouldn't have been able to understand the language. Very few people would understand the language of those documents. Why would she have written in a language that they wouldn't have been able to understand?
Yeah,
had terrible writing. People have to go on special courses to read Queen Victoria's writing because it's so hard to understand.
Yeah, I think one of the main things when they sort of say to me, how do you know he's a scam artist? You haven't even read his official documents. Have you read his official documents? I said, I've read these documents. One thing I've heard about scam artists is that they're really good at forging documents and forging pictures. Not only that, putting them on their own website and stamping them with their own made-up stamp, and then putting that out there, and claiming that, like he says all the time, I named myself. That's what scam artists do. That's my proof.
You see his documents. There's some videos he's done where he's got these official papers that are, bound with red thread, and he'll be ungloved hands looking through them. And then when he's doing the proper documentary where he's wearing makeup and everything, he's got the gloves on and he's, being very careful with this old document that I just made this 5 minutes ago, but, it's very precious.
That made me laugh.
So really, for the people that are following Greg that think that he is what he claims to be, please just take in everything that so you can at least decide, hopefully on the side of sanity. But look at his videos as if you were somebody who was anti-Greg and go, oh yeah, I can see how they could see that, and like look at it through fresh eyes. Really, just
good advice.
not biased eyes, because no matter what you want to find out on the internet, you can find the answer to whatever you're looking for, and you'll find the answer that you want, because if you go down those rabbit holes, depending on which way you go, you end up with different answers. So if you want this answer, you'll get that one.
Yeah. One of the guys, I think it's that Charlie Ward, asks him where he gets his ideas from, or where he gets all these facts and things that go. He says, oh, they just come to me, and I lie on the couch of laziness, and that just comes to me. And there's a clip where he's actually saying that. It's obvious he's saying himself, I'm making it up.
Yeah.
And no one's ever shouted bullshit, No. You know what I mean?
You have this you blow people's minds with, like, the information that you're giving. See, what happens is you'll hit me with something, and then I'll go, okay, and I'm processing it, and then you've already advanced 5 or 6 points. I'm going, okay. So really you need someone walking behind me with notes, but it's taken me a good couple of days to get it. You like that?
And just talk absolute
nonsense.
Total nonsense. The more nonsense we can come up with, other people listening in go, well, what are these guys on? Just absolute rubbish. I wrote 4 books in 1 year. One of them was called How to Take Over the World, a Right Rule Con.
All right, I've never heard that before. See, it's exactly what I'm talking about. He does that all the time to you. He puts this in your head, and then you're processing it, and he's already halfway down the road by then.
Yeah.
If you check his facts, you'll find that they don't match up. At all.
We'll have to.
What was that thing that he said, saying we crown him?
Coronavirus means we crown him. Yeah.
In Latin, and it absolutely doesn't.
It doesn't.
You just look it up, and it's like about 5 or 6 different words that are totally not. I can't remember. It's like he says that if you say I have no trousers, it's Greg Hallett backwards.
On my way, let me just see if I can find my socks and my shoes and my trousers.
And Prince William advocated to me as well as all the others. He was getting interviewed, and he said, I don't have any shoes, I don't have any socks, I don't have any trousers. And that means that he is the emperor with no clothes, right? And when he was saying that, he put his head right down like that for an extended period, and he's all bald through here.
Yes.
So he was saying that he is no hair.
Fascinating.
Yeah? And then when you played trousers, when he said I had no trousers, when you play no trousers backwards, it's Greg Hallett.
Yeah, that one.
I could just, how?
You're taking the piss now.
In what accent? In what accent?
That's him totally putting the boundaries and seeing how far he can lead people astray that that are following him. He's just, like he's almost showing them that he is lying.
Yeah.
And they're falling for it. It's like, oh my God, I'm trying to put them off, but they just keep
pushing the boundaries of how much how ridiculous can the claims he make, and people still believe him, and people still do. I mean,
and the arrogance of his claims, like years ago when Hillary's husband was
Bill Clinton.
Yeah, when he was POTUS. He was at a dinner in Auckland, in New Zealand, and Greg, I don't know how he did it, but he managed to get into the room, and he went up to Bill Clinton and gave him his book that he had written
about fathering New Zealand.
And so Greg was arrested because he shouldn't have been, shouldn't even been able to get into the room. But the police took Greg's book as evidence, and Greg wanted to sue the police for theft, or wanted to charge them with theft. That's his arrogance, his absolute arrogance.
That's ridiculous. I hadn't heard that one before.
Yeah.
So.
And then it got in the newspaper. It was in the Herald, which is the main Auckland newspaper.
Oh, it was in the newspaper. I suppose.
It was in the newspaper, and the reporter asked one of the a member of Parliament, said, so aren't you worried about this, Mr. Hallett, and his allegations? They go, well, nobody takes him seriously.
Yeah.
Nobody takes him seriously at all.
And unfortunately, people now are taking him seriously.
So if you could speak to Greg, what would you say to him?
Where are our records?
Yes, he stole all of our records.
We entrusted them to him when we went overseas. Or when I went overseas, I entrusted my records to him. He said, yep, he'd look after them.
And me.
And when I came back, I don't know, I suppose it was like a while later, 10 years or something, I said, can you bring my records down when you come for Christmas? And he said, yeah, I'll do that. And he bought this box of records, and I looked and didn't recognise one of them. I said, those aren't my records. He says, yes, they are. And I go, no, they're not. He says, yes, they are. They're your records. I go, they're not my records. I don't recognise any of them. And he'd sold them.
What records are these?
LPs.
LP records.
Okay.
Sorry, young man.
We're old. With the old records, it was gold to get them, because they were like $40 then. For a record was $30 to $40, and that was a long time ago. So it was a lot of money for your music, and I'd only been overseas for like a year and a half living in England, and I came back and I asked him about my records as well, because even though he'd been overseas, he had them in storage, and he said he'd sold them. And when I was upset about it, because there were some lovely old favourites, he just laughed at me. When I was upset, he laughed at me.
Yeah.
And that was when I kind of went completely off him.
And not
long after that, he got married, and I don't think I even made eye contact with him at the wedding.
Yeah, and that marriage, did you hear about the wedding?
No.
I don't tell you about the wedding. Oh, his ex-wife, she's lovely. She's a sister to us. We're very close.
She got promoted when she left Greg from being sister-in-law to sister.
To good sister. Yeah, but when they got married, they had an Eckankar ceremony, which is another sort of occult type thing. And they were, you know, dreaming with each other, dreaming with people who aren't there, and, you know, the traveling and stuff in your brains and your dreams and stuff. And so with the Eckankar, they get married at dawn. So people came from all over to get up at 4:30 in the morning to go up to this this waterfall up the back of Tauranga, and witness them getting married at
as the sun rose.
And then we had a little, you know, breakfast thing on the carpet, and it was winter, it was freaking cold, and then we get back, and then they invited everybody around to their flat for afternoon tea, and they were renting one of Mum's flats. They were living, you know, just beside Mum, and then he just suddenly says, "Oh, got something to tell you. It's our first anniversary today." They'd got married a year before in a registry office that hadn't told anybody, and then made us all get up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go and watch them get married. People drove from Auckland to Tauranga, which is like a 3-hour journey, and, you know, so they would have been up in the middle of the night. And,
anyway, yeah.
So always considerate.
Apart from, you know, like Greg, where are our records? I don't have anything to say to the new king.
No.
Just like, get some psychiatric help, please. Just go and get some psychiatric help. Take some medication. But,
Yeah, I don't think. Well, it's
man.
not. And the psychiatric help, as in such, like in talking and stuff, isn't gonna help. He needs the chemistry in his brain readjusted so that he's, you know, can see things without being delusional.
Sure.
But I don't really think anything much they can do from it. It's, you know, you're born a sociopath.
Yeah.
And with delusions like he has, they suit him and he likes them. So, you know, if you get rid of them, so really he's just got to stop trying to con the world. He can just make a diary for himself and tell his diary how wonderful he is.
Yeah.
Every day. Yeah. And, you know, forget about trying to tell the rest of the world. Just tell himself in a diary. And then maybe you can read back in a year's time and look back and think, shit, did I believe that then? Or I believe this now.
Or maybe you'll read his diary and go, oh yeah, I was the king. I forgot about that. I didn't tell myself.
Yeah. Where's my money?
Yeah. I better go back to England. Anyway, I'll probably best end it here.
Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the opportunity to give our side of the Greg story.
No, thank you guys for actually doing it. For, you know, I thanked you before for doing the videos you did before I ever knew you, and really I just wanted to try and do this to get out a clearer sort of interview message, and just to kind of show that you're normal ladies and you like to have a laugh, and that you know, because all these guys just kind of, you know, that's all it took for Greg, and this is how powerful his sort of brainwashing is. That they won't even watch a video, and that I think is frightening. But I figure if we could do an interview like this, and we could touch on all the questions, maybe, just maybe, once enough of their fans saying, have you seen this? Some of them do watch it, and some of them do go, oh, well, you should watch this. They might even say, oh, you should watch this. The druggies are doing an interview again with guy who doesn't do his research, that you know, that MC.
Doesn't read anything.
You know, that people will still see it, and so I was just hoping to, you know, yeah. So I'm just really glad that you guys have decided to do this, and you know, and yeah, you know, don't thank me for the opportunity. I think it's great that you're doing it.
Oh, glad that you're doing it as well, really.
Yeah, and it'll be good if we can get some clarity out there, and hopefully, and especially if it starts with something that's, you know, maybe makes Sat Greg sound, you know, just that'll get their attention.
Questionable.
Yeah.
Or that you know, not necessarily dissing Greg, so they're saying the things, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's not my intention at all to diss Greg, as you say. It is really to push out information that is questionable, and I am completely dumbfounded that there's so many people out there that do not want to hear it. They would rather in this fantasy world that's been created by Greg. You know, it reads a great story, doesn't it? You know, and people are happy to live in that book for as long as it lasts. And I don't think that that's helping them at all. And I hope they wake up. Because the longer it goes on, the more damage it's going to do.
Well, a lot of people have woken up, haven't they?
Yes, they have, and a lot of people are in, you know, in this network of people that, you know, we're all part of, that are sharing this information and are trying to do the right thing. And some of these people, you know, there's even one of them I've said to you about before that was saying all sorts of horrible things to me. When she was in this spell, you know, when she didn't want to listen to me, and one day she just kind of went, hang on a minute, this is all bullshit. People, and she got the same thing that I got from her, and she realised, oh, maybe, you know, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And then she kind of approached me, and I said, look, I don't want to talk to you. You were calling me this and that last week, and she was like, I am so sorry. You know, I see it all differently now. So hopefully more people will have that kind of epiphany. I really do hope that we and others that, you know, that have been helping us can make that happen for people.
Oh, we were just trying to take the blind out.
We had to put the blind up. We had to put the blind up because it's so much light comes in. So I don't know how to turn the camera around.
You just turn the screen around.
Oh, hang on, here we go. That's out the lounge window.
Oh, that looks like it looks like a dream island.
It's heaven.
That's beautiful.
And just over there, I'm over in amongst those houses is where our mum lives.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Not far off.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just.
Oh, you're a lucky lady to live there. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, so that was the one that Natalie said. Oh, you know, enjoy your week, your last week on the island. Your last week alive, because that's what you're going to get. So enjoy it.
Oh, so you've been you've been lucky enough to have some bonus weeks then.
Yeah. And I still feel fine. Tam looks a bit shit.
Oh, that's so it's not just Greg bullying you, Amanda. You bully Tam, and
yes, it goes all around. Yeah. We do it in humour though.
Yeah.
Nasty.
Not in a sort of narcissistic way.
No, we just have it. You know, makes us laugh.
Yeah.
Spontaneous things that come out that are unexpected.
Banter is what it is. That's what we call it.
Yeah.